Hey everybody, hey, this is Jason Greider with the Greider Peterson team. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about mortgages. I know a lot of you are looking to get into a mortgage or looking to buy a new home or even refinance. So I just wanted to go over some of the things to ask your mortgage lender so that you get with the best. Everyone is a little bit different. Every mortgage company is a little bit different. Loan officers are different. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on what things you can ask to make sure you're using the right lender for you. Thanks, stay tuned, and this is what's coming up next. Okay, so question one, things to ask a lender. So what type of mortgage do you offer? Mortgages, there's a lot of different mortgage opportunities, a lot of different mortgage programs, a lot of different chances that you have to either get a lower interest rate or have assistance, things like that. So really the mortgage types they offer are really big, it's a really big deal. The right type of loan for you depends on a lot of different things too. So it can depend on your income, your down payment, your home price, credit score. There's a lot of things that factor into that and what you're actually wanting to do and what's best for your circumstance. So your lender really should be able to explain the different requirements for each loan and which one is best for you and why it's best for you. And some lenders will actually run a few different programs to see which one you will like best. So those are always good things to think about. Second is, what loans do I qualify for? And are there any that you don't offer that I might want? So asking this to the lender, it gives them really a good idea because not all loan officers, not all lenders offer all loan types or even all programs. Sometimes individual banks have programs and sometimes they'll offer different things. And so it's really important to ask what they offer and if there's anything they think might be better for them. Sometimes they'll know. A really good lender, if there's something that is going to truly benefit you, they'll let you know, they'll pass you along. In fact, the lenders that we use the most are the ones that are most willing to pass it on if it's not right for you or what they have isn't a good fit for you. So that's another good one to ask. Number three is, does your interest rate include discount points? So you want to know that up front because you want to know if they're quoting an interest rate, if you're going to have to pay or buy down points for that, it's not, it may not be able to compete with someone else's. So a lot of times lenders will actually use discount points and they'll quote a rate that's lower so they can get the loan. So you definitely want to ask that up front. So you can ask them to explain discount points in detail, and that'll further your knowledge. And you want to consider if you're going to stay in the house a few years, if you're not. There's a lot of different things to consider with discount points. You don't necessarily want to pay a huge amount of money to lower your rate if you're only going to be in the home 2 to 5 years. If you're going to be in the home long term, it might be worth it. So another one to ask is, do you charge any upfront fees? Some lenders charge an application fee, credit report fee, or other upfront fees. These are meant to cover the costs of processing a request for a new loan and typically include costs such as credit checks, administrative expenses. So you want to know what upfront fees are going to charge. Also, they may charge for your loan application or even appraisal fees up front. So you wanted to see what all is going to be required of you up front. What costs or fees will be required to pay prior to closing? So sometimes you'll have other fees that are required, like I mentioned, like the appraisal fee, and sometimes you'll have other things that you need to pay up front. So you just want to be aware of that before you go into it. Some do and some don't. If you don't pay it up front, they're going to roll it into the loan anyway, so you're going to pay it anyway, but it's always good to know when that is required of you in the process. So do you charge for a rate lock? Rate locks are really important right now because a lot of people go in and they'll get approved for a loan, and then they won't be able to find the home they want, or they'll bid on a few homes and get outbid and not get the home they want, so it goes past that time. Or sometimes things require once you get a home under contract, there'll be some delays in the closing of it. And if it goes past that time, then you could have an increase in rate. And so you just want to make sure what they do, what they charge, how long they're going to lock that rate, and if they do, if they're going to charge for that. Many lenders offer a 30-day lock, some offer a 60-day lock. It just kind of depends on the programs that they have specifically. So that's something also important that you may want to find out. Another thing is, do you have an interest rate float down option? Float down is kind of a term used for mortgages that allows borrowers to lock the rate, but with the caveat that if it falls during the underwriting process, that it can lower your rate. So if the rate goes down, let's say for instance at 4, and then you've locked it in, you get a home under contract, 2 weeks in, that rate drops to 3.5. You would actually be able to float down to that because of that option. So that's something to ask as well. The next question would be, how long would it take to close my loan once you have it under contract? So once you have a contract and you give it to them, it really shouldn't take a lender longer than 30 days. Here in Eastern Idaho, appraisers are pretty quick. We did get backed up a couple years ago where they're a week or 2 weeks out or even more, but right now they're actually not bad. So they can get out there fairly quickly. So closing a loan in 30 days should be no problem. Most lenders can do it quicker than that, but that's something to ask because that's important to ask when you're writing an offer, of course. And so just how quickly they can do it. And of course, if they do have to extend or they have to extend past the closing date, then you would be under default as a buyer and there could be additional costs associated with that, or you could even lose the home. So it's very important to see how long it takes them to close. Do your loans have any permanent payment or prepayment penalties? Most don't now, but it's still important to ask ahead of time, especially if it's a program that only their office offers. If just the bank or the institution that you're going to offers that specific program, you just want to ask if there's prepayment penalties, just in case. One of the last questions is, how often should I expect to receive updates about my loan process and from whom? So basically you want to know who you're talking to. You want to know if the loan officer is going to be the one talking to you, if they have an assistant or a processor or somebody that's going to be talking to you constantly, and how often to expect calls. So not only up to leading before you get an offer, once you have something under contract and you're giving that over to them, when are they going to receive updates? Are they going to talk to them once a week, or how often are they going to receive those? Lenders are all different in that as well, but it's just good to know when you're going to expect updates from them. More is always better, so you know where the process is. Most real estate agents will reach out to the lender almost weekly just to see, at least weekly. But it's always good to know yourself as well, so the lender's talking to you directly and knowing, so you know what's going on. Also be very, very quick when they do reach out to get things to them so that it doesn't delay closing. And the last one that I came up with was, do you work with the down payment assistance programs? So there are some of those here in Idaho, and some down payment assistance programs, whether it be a grant or a loan, but a lot of different lenders have different options on that, so that's something that's really important to ask, especially if you don't have a lot of down payment to put down a home. Especially now, a lot of people, if you've owned a home, they have substantial down payments typically because you have a lot of equity in your home, but right now the people who are trying to get into the market may not have, maybe they have a smaller down payment or need some assistance, and so that's something very good to ask. So really the bottom line with mortgages is finding the right mortgage for you. There's so many different products out there. They're becoming more and more. Of course, after the crash of 2011, we had a kind of a lull, and they put a kind of a grip on mortgages, and they didn't have a lot of extra programs, things like that, but they're coming out again. Not to the fact that they had before, they're nowhere near where we were before the crash. We're not getting in trouble, but they are offering some other options for people. Whether it be bank statement loans or things like that. Really to find the best fit for you so that you can find not only the best interest rate, but the best product that'll fit your needs. And so ask a lot of questions before you sign. They will be able to give you the closing disclosures and everything up front, and all the estimates up front, so that you know exactly what you're getting into and what you're paying. So you can go off that APR and see really, truly who's giving you the best deal. But that's it for today. Thank you. Hopefully that helps on what to ask your lender. Also, you can always ask your agent as well. Our agents are very well trained. They know what they're talking about. And so asking your agent of which direction to go, or maybe even which lender to talk to, might be a good thing as well, just to point you in the right direction and so you can get second opinions. So thanks. Have a good one.